guys and gals, and welcome to an IRL Creepypasta, the Order 1886. If you can tell, I'm talking about a certain game that came out for the PlayStation 4. Before we begin, I have to address something. This is not a hate video here. Relax, okay? Before anybody starts going all fanboy on it or automatically, throwing out assumptions, I do not hate this title. But I do hate certain aspects about it that I have to talk. That, unfortunately, I foreshadowed in the very first episode of this series, when I talked about the Xbox One. So, what an IRL Creepypasta is it's sort of a confusion on this channel entirely if, I want to cover stuff like Bermuda Triangle and whatnot, but essentially it's moments where really shitty things in gaming happen. Now, the reason I'm bringing this game up in particular, and I have mentioned other games like AC Unity before, but that was in like a rant time, and I shouldn't fragment a lot of stuff that I say like that too, but the reason that I am bringing this game up entirely too is way back when the consoles were coming out, I was excited about the PlayStation 4. And when the PlayStation 4 released, the launch games, to me, sucked. Killzone Shadowfall I bought and I returned in like a week or two because it was so boring to play. And then Knack I played for like a day, and my brother thought it was cool, but I did not like Knack at all. And again, those are personal preferences, but I didn't like anything on the platform that came out. So my brother and a lot of people on the internet told me, get the Order 1886, get it, whatever, blah blah blah, we're gonna have a ton of fun on that. It's at least it's a single player game, as far as that's considered, because it's not multiplayer, it's a single player experience. So I'm like, you know what, I like single player experiences, they're fun. I'm not really, I might play multiplayer, but I'm not like a heavy online guy. So I said, sure, I'll wait for this game. And from the visual standpoint, it looked great, and not only that, but it was a game that had an interesting setting. The lore was amazing, the lore was cool, and it was a nice game that I was looking forward to. But I didn't pre-order it. I stopped pre-ordering games when the price got hiked in Canada to like $69.99. Because if you don't know, games in Canada are, priced that high. And they're priced even higher in some other countries, unfortunately. So for me, I didn't go out and pre-order the game because I still wasn't sure on it. But my, brother did. He's like, sure, why not? Let's get it on order or whatever, So he gets the game. Now, I decided to go over and get, play this game over. And from what I heard from him before even playing it, he's like, it was a piece of crap. To him, it played like Gears of War. Not entirely like it, we did say it's not entirely that game, but it's like, it's a third-person shooter. It kind of plays the same, to be honest, cover system mechanic. It's there, it's got the standard cover shoot, blah, 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 all that crap. It's not Gears of War, though, so anyone saying that it is Gears of War has not actually played the game. Yes, it's similar to that title, yeah, very much so. But it's not a Gears of War clone, let's be honest here, okay? Let's be very real. They're both separate games in their own right. Now, what actually kills this for me is the complete lack of any sort of gameplay and story thrown into it whatsoever, is the fact that this game is essentially the second technical graphics showcase for the PlayStation 4, the first one being Killzone Shadowfall, which, if you guys were, there back when I, got this game, I was really pissed about it. You guys saw me on a stream a couple times, and I hated fucking this game because it would have no story whatsoever. It would have nothing to it. It'd be a lifeless game that would use really old tried and true mechanics and fuck them up, but the only thing it had going for it was pretty graphics. And to me, that is not a fucking game. That is the death of fucking video games, okay? Is when they only focus on the graphical side. Now, the Order 1886, I don't care. It looks like it is a good-looking game. It's looking better than Killzone Shadowfall. So anyone that says this game doesn't look good is trolling, okay? This game looks freaking beautiful. Trust me, right now, this is a fucking beautiful-looking game, okay? In times, it looks almost lifelike. Now, I don't have any gameplay thrown up here because last time I tried doing it, I had Content ID stuff with it. So, I'm not going to risk any of that stuff whatsoever. But here, in this game, it looks very beautiful. If you look up gameplay for it, if you look up, a stream of it, even looking at it in like 360p, you can tell, wow, it's gorgeous. It throws next gen at you. But that's all it does. The game, at least when I was playing it for like an hour and two, was linear. It was almost lifeless, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I know it's a third-person, cover action shooter, but it still needed some fucking love thrown into it. Yeah, it has interesting weapons. Thermite weapons are all nice and all that, but that's not really adding anything to the gameplay. And not only that, but it's loaded to the fucking brim with QuickTime events. It's like, I thought Resident Evil 6 did it bad with like a bunch of QuickTime events happening here and there, but Order 1886 takes the cake for a quick time. In fact, it's almost fucking like Heavy Rainish at this point. Well, not entirely. That's going way too far. But it essentially does that. And should it do that? No. No, it shouldn't. This is not what the game should be doing. It should try to implement on what it's doing. Because, guys, this is next fucking gen. I expected not a game that would be slightly different to Gears of War. I'm thinking of a game that would trump that. That would trump anything we've seen on the PlayStation 3, and anything we've seen on the Xbox 360 or the Wii. I expect a game that is worthy of the title next gen, a game that has just as big of a leap as something from the PS2 off to the Xbox 360. And I don't want to hear the fact that, oh, we're still early in the lifespan. No. We're well into the lifespan. These are not next gen consoles anymore, people. These are current gen systems. If they don't have games that are giving us any backing, it is worthless. People like me, and think about it right now. The first thing I said about on the first IRL Creepypasta is we are consumers, okay? We're not fanboys. We're not, fucking puppets for any business, okay? First of all, I'm Mudahar. I work as an editor, I make money, and I spend that money on my hobby, which is gaming. I don't care who I'm gaming with, whether it be Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo. I don't give a shit. As long as I'm having fun playing a game, that's all that matters. I'm not going to defend a company. I'm not going to go, out of my way to promote them too. I don't care. They're not doing anything for me, and I'm not doing anything for them either. It's a mutual fucking relationship. They make a good product, I buy it, end of story. So when I get a product where all of it is completely against the entire hobby whatsoever, because games are not just graphic tech demos, first of all. Graphic tech demos are fucking benchmarks. Those are two separate entirely things. If you wanted to benchmark your shit, get 3D Mark and that's it. Okay, so for me, when a company does something like this, when they release something which is not a fucking game, okay, it is a fucking technical demo, alright, at least to me, and this is my opinion, okay, some people actually like the game, and, unlike my brother, I thought the storyline from the hour or two that I played it was interesting-ish. My brother hated it, but then again, that's the beauty of it. We're two different people. We have two different subjective fucking minds, so that is entirely a different point, but the fact that the gameplay is boring, because let's be honest here, there's games that are like 10 times better than this game in terms of the gameplay aspect that you can go out and play in the same genre whatsoever, and they don't get any love and attention, but this one does because it was heavily marketed, and the fact that it had great graphics, but those great graphics don't help it. Alright, see, unlike The Last of Us, where that also had great graphics, but it also had good gameplay to back it up. Last of Us was a good game. It had good gameplay. Yeah, there was linearity to it. Of course there was. We knew there was going to be linearity to it, but it was done properly. This game is not only linear, but it's got no soul to it. It really doesn't. Yeah, it's got an interesting environment, nice aesthetics, but it's never being used. So again, it's just used for the sake of, oh wow, we can do pretty graphics. Well, that's nice. That's why I game on PC anyways. I'm used to it, in a way. I maxed out all my settings anyway, so the Order 1886, as pretty as it looked, wasn't like immensely wowing me away. What I get wowed away by is amazing gameplay. That's why to this day I'll still, like, if I wanted to play a better game than Order 1886, I'd put in Max Payne 3 or something like that. I don't know if I wanted to play a game in the similar type of category, because those games are actually fun. They got good gameplay, and yeah, they got good visuals too. Alright, this is why, my selection of games, alright, are still from the old days, because nothing in the next gen is doing anything. And the fact that it is a new next generation title, you would expect it to be a little lengthier, not a shorter, soulless game. People, when I mention these games are costing up to $70 now, for at least Canadians, for Americans it's $59.99. Europeans, I think it's a little cheaper in Europe. I don't know about Australia. Australia is fucking jacked up in prices whatsoever, so again, you're paying a high amount no matter what. That's your money that you're spending, okay? And if you're spending it on a product that's not giving you a return on investment, literally, I swear to God, it's not worth it. It's the same thing I said when Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes came out, and yeah, I bought that game, 2 times, which was my idiocy, and I supported that whatsoever. I still told people, I'm like, look, if you're gonna, even if you love the game, spending $20 on like an hour of gameplay is not right, whatsoever. And I was pissed when I beat that game initially, and I understand why my brother's pissed when he beat this game too. Same reason why I'm pissed when I beat Destiny. It was I spent $60 for what, fucking 8 missions. So at the end of the day, I'm asking you, as a some ordinary gamer, is it worth it? And take all the fanboyism aside, every little bit, and ask yourself this: is this game worth $69.99? Is it worth me going out spending that much money, 2/3 of $100, so I can get what, 5-6 hours of gameplay? All right, that may look great, but it's nothing substantial. And that's ultimately killing what my hobby is, you know. I mean, it's a game that's not even long enough to have a good creepypasta come out of it. So, at the end of the day, is the Order 1886 a game that's worth it? And I know some people might think I'm singling it out, I'm being a fanboy. Look, I've done this to many other games, many other companies, and I gotta point out flaws where they exist, because the way I see it in recent times, our games are kind of dying, seriously. You know, they're not as meaty as they used to be when the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3 launched. Those games were full-fledged games. They didn't come with no season passes or DLC or anything like that. They didn't come with promises of we're going to throw in, you know, single-player packs later on. No, they were full-fledged games. Now, we're not getting full-fledged games, people. We're not. It's the end, seriously. And if we spend more money on it, you know, then, and we don't talk about it, we don't bring awareness to it, then they're going to keep doing it. And guess what's going to happen 3 years from now? They're probably going to start selling demos at this point for like $20, saying, well, I'll buy the rest of the game for $40. Or they go the episodic route, which they sell the game for, I don't know, $10 and, you know, sell the episodes $10 a pop too. And they might make more money that way, I don't know. There's multiple things that'll happen. Or they'll keep releasing soulless games. This happened to me with this and partway into The Evil Within. I haven't finished that game either because of the blandness I felt from it too. I might come back to it, but that's kind of what I've been getting from games that have come out in recent times. But that's just my opinion, as always. In the end of the day, I ask you what is yours, and, you know, if you could share in the comments below. This is me, Mudahar, and if you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm out.